Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Cynthia at the Table. I am your host, Cynthia, and we have a super great show today. Today's episode is all about the celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. To help us celebrate, we have two special guests at the table. Up first, we have our lovely Penny Arroyo. Penny, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Penny Arroyo, and I'm the General Manager of the Los Angeles County Chicano Employees Association. We're employee advocates for LA County employees, and we provide legal services to them. So I'm very proud to be a Hispanic, Latina, and I'm proud to be here.
Thank you so much. Yes, Penny is one of my, let's say, a fans. Okay, also at the table, we have the talented Chris Reza with us. Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself as well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Like you said, my name is Chris Reza. I am a detective with the LAPD. I've been a detective for a few years. I've been on the job for about 20 years. And I moonlight. I have a secondary job as a mariachi singer/singer. So I've been doing that for a while. And just over the last maybe 5-6 years, I started doing some mixing them with my police work and community outreach, and getting to know closer to our community a little better using music, specifically mariachi music.
Great, awesome. I am so glad to have you both at the table to share and celebrate in Hispanic Heritage Month. Thank you so much. For those who don't know, Hispanic Heritage Month is celebrated annually from September 15th through October 15th, and focuses on the contributions and influences of Hispanic Americans to the history, culture, and achievements of the United States. What I learned as I was doing my research is that Hispanic Heritage Month began as a week back in 1968 under the administration of President Lyndon B Johnson, and was expanded by law to a full month in 1988 under President Ronald Reagan. Isn't that something? We have come a long way in recognizing and celebrating diversity in America, and there is still so much more work to do. Now, at this time, I want to hear from our special guests. So let's get to it. I'll start with you, Penny. What
Okay.
does Hispanic Heritage Month mean to you, and how do you celebrate?
Well, just going back a little bit, there's about, according to the census, about 56.6 million Hispanics in the United States right now. And Hispanics and Latinos have been contributed to American life since the American Revolution, and they've fought in every war since. And now Hispanics and Latinos, they're business owners. They serve as public servants, veterans, they're teachers, contributing to the American lifestyle. So for that, I'm very proud to be a part of that. And I think Hispanic Heritage Month is celebrating all of those contributions and the movement and just where we've grown. So I celebrated by remembering how we got here, remembering where we started, and remembering that I'm an American citizen, and I'm very proud.
Wow, thanks for the history.
Sure, a
Okay,
lot
Chris.
has to do with food. I have to say that food is
Yes, yes.
we cannot. I don't know what
And
it is. Hispanics cannot celebrate anything without food. So food is a big deal. You know, there's the traditional sweetbreads and
Wow.
foods, which we all love. And before you go to Chris, I just had to say a little something. You know, back in the day, mariachis, they were always part of it. You know, always part
Uh-huh,
of this in any celebration. You know,
uh-huh, uh-huh.
baptisms, you know, births, everything, weddings, and they had all these little old men that were the mariachis. That day has come and gone, and they're the hot tamales now. So Chris is, contributing to that, kind of the face of that as well. But they're,
oh boy,
they're
Thank you, Penny.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, Penny. Thanks for that. I know we're going to talk momentarily in more detail about what you do exactly, Chris. But just in general, what does Hispanic Heritage Month mean to you?
Well, it's a celebration of where we come. It's celebrating the people that have come before us, our roots, our ancestors, all the customs that we have gotten familiar with here. You know, being born and raised in the United States, you're very American, but yet you're me. I was born in East LA and raised there, so you're still very in touch with a lot of your cultural traditions from Mexico. So getting to know which starts, Mexican Hispanic Heritage Month starts with basically the celebration of the Mexican Independence Day, which is September 15th to 16th. So you start getting to know the aspect of those traditions and the revolution, and you realize that it wasn't about Cinco de Mayo. When when we were growing up, it was Cinco de Mayo celebrations with also help getting in touch with your culture. And that's how I learned the passion for mariachi music and the customs. But, then you get to really know, starting with September 15th and Mexican independence, a lot more about the tradition of Mexico. So it's an important part of our family history. And it's always great to be caught up with cultures and customs from your ancestors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now I do want to take a little deeper dive into the cultural aspect of the Hispanic Heritage Month and some of the traditions that are observed. And Penny, you and Chris have already spoke on it. In particular, let's talk about the history of mariachi, which both of you touched on. I want to talk about where it came from, how it started, and the origin of those famous costumes. Chris, I know that mariachi tradition is near and dear to your heart. I know that it's something that your mom instilled with you as a very young boy. So let's talk with you and see, can you expand some more on that?
Absolutely. So mariachi has been around now since the middle of the 19th century. In one shape or form. At that point, it started with the influence of the Spanish. The instrumentation changed into some of what we now are familiar with, the string instruments, and it started evolving from a rural campesino rancher kind of tradition to the turn of the 19th century, where it started to become bigger and moved into from the regional music to the city of Mexico City, where it started becoming picked up by the politicians and started being promoted as something of a historical, traditional, way to push Mexico to the world. So that's when it started changing the instrumentation. They added trumpets later on. Most of it really changed after the revolution in 1910, just about. And that's when the customs, and as you said, the costumes, the traditional gear that they wear, they took it from a horseman. It's called a traje de charro, which originally was the hacienda owners, the rich, wealthy hacienda owners in Mexico, wore these outfits. So this is something that they adapted and decided to wear as they went and now started performing on stages and in nightclubs, basically in Mexico City, to be a little more of a show kind of a wear. So it was a little more elegant. And then it started growing, and in the 1930s or so, it started getting into radio and television, and it started becoming more popular up until the point where in probably the 50s and 60s, it migrated across into Los Angeles, and then Los Angeles became the second home of mariachis outside of Mexico City and Guadalajara, basically. So that's just a quick rundown of there's a lot of more history in there, but that's the Reader's Digest version for now.
That's amazing, and that's a lot. That is so amazing. Penny, do you have anything you would like to add to that?
Well, I'd just like to add that traditionally, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but mariachis were a group of men. And now, as women, we're plowing through, and women mariachi groups are very popular.
Wow.
And there used to be a small number of mariachi groups that were all female, but now, from what I understand, they've really flourished and they're growing. Very popular.
Wow.
Yes, it has become a very popular, the all female mariachi group. There was always, they went back a bit as well. The first all female mariachi groups go back to Mexico, and there's some video and some history about that, and they go back quite a long time. Las Pioneras, I think they were called, Las Pioneers. But then they became a little more popular once they sprung up in the United States, and now there is a big faction, and they compete with the men, and they have their own groups, and they do very well with their shows and everything that they're part of. It's just another group now. They're no longer really a difference between the men and the women. There's just another group, but they've come a long way and they're doing great.
And there's also a new wave of mariachi groups too. There's like a rock and roll mariachi group. I think there's so they've just kind of, I think there's some offshoots to it as well. I mean, it's not the traditional, of course, having a rock and roll mariachi group for a traditional party. I think would send everybody into another realm, because they would not accept that, I don't think, because tradition is tradition. But it's kind of fun to see how people are taking a play off of everything and holding a little bit of the traditional, but making it maybe a little new.
Right, they're using. Yeah, they're using they're using the instruments, and it's music. The mariachi musician is a studied musician now that can read music and play any kind of genre of music, basically. With the mariachi traditional style included, I was luckily be part of a recent venture when this pandemic started, and I was invited to perform a medley, basically, of the Beatles song "Imagine," or the John Lennon song. And we did a whole Imagine, and it was a mariachi take on the song Imagine, and it was great. So we were able to do a lot of different things just on the musicality and how far it's come.
Is that on YouTube, Chris?
Yes, it's on YouTube, and it's also on my Facebook page.
The Facebook page, okay.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that page. I mean, it's interesting that you say that, and how the mariachi and the focus and how it has expanded and evolved. I have to share a little story that my husband, as a young kid, he played horns. And then even in the high school band, he played the saxophone. So he was in the marching band. And so he has a special appreciation and a love for the mariachis because of all the horns and all of that. So when I told him, Chris, that, hey, for Hispanic Heritage Month, I have someone who's going to be doing the mariachis, he loved it. So he's you already have a fan in him. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew that.
That's great. Oddly enough, the trumpet, which is now mariachi, is very trumpet heavy. It was not one of the original instruments.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, no, they added that. That was probably the last instrument that they added. But originally it was just strings and a harp, and then the more traditional, eventually they kind of phased out the harp and added the trumpets. And now we can't imagine mariachi without trumpets, but it wasn't one of the original trumpets, but the trumpets make it so special. I really enjoy the sound of the trumpets with the mariachi. It's great.
I enjoy them when Penny at our picnics and other venues during the holidays and and Christmas and stuff. So I do appreciate it as well.
Yeah, we try.
So, Chris, while you're here, not trying to put you on the spot, but maybe just a little bit. How about give the Cynthia at the Table listeners a little taste of your mariachi skills?
We'll give them one of the most renowned pieces of most renowned song that's been played, I think, in more languages than any song all over the world. It's called "Bésame Mucho."
Okay.
So bésame, it's "Bésame Mucho."
Okay.
Bésame mucho. Kiss me much.
Okay.
Let's give it a little shot here.
Okay.
Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez.
Bésame, bésame mucho, que tengo miedo perderte después.
Nice.
That was incredible. So amazing. Chris, I can really hear the passion that you have for the music. It really came through. Thank you so much for that. I know our viewers are going to love that. It was such a treat. Penny, what did you think about that? It was like, wow.
I liked it and I felt it. I really did. I got a little chills.
Really, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome, Chris. Is there a site where our listeners can check out your music? Now, I did a little other research. I know that you have, since you've been singing mariachi for 20 years, you released 11 songs. You have a new single, El Salvador, also meaning the servant, and focuses on your identity. So can you maybe say, and we can also post it, where folks can reach you? Like your website?
Sure. Yeah, well, I use predominantly all the social media with Facebook and Instagram, and I have a YouTube channel. And all those tracks are on iTunes and Amazon Music, especially the last one is El Servidor has been a little more around than the rest of them. We had a lot of good feedback based off the video that we did, because we did do a music video with it. So it kind of did touch a lot of people based on the combination of everything that we did with that song that talks about, being a police officer, being in the community, the roots that we have, East LA, Mexico, and United States, and, ketchup on tacos and everything else. So that was a good song for us. But all that stuff is available on my Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And then the songs are available for download or streaming through those iTunes and Amazon Music, Spotify.
Great. Awesome. Okay, viewers, you heard it directly from Chris himself that he's available, his music, on all social media platforms. Well, viewers, it's our time for this episode. I really, both of you enjoyed the talk on Hispanic Heritage Month and really learned a lot just by what you were saying. About the positive influence of the Hispanic culture and how it influences and what it does for our community and our country. With that, I want to thank you both profusely being our special guest today, Penny and Chris. It was such a treat, a pleasure, and a joy. And before I leave, I always leave our listeners with a quote or a nugget that they can carry with them over until next time. And the quote today is so befitting, and it comes from Cesar Chavez. He said, "We cannot seek achievement for ourselves and forget about progress and prosperity for our community. Our ambitions must be broad enough to include the aspirations and needs of others, for their sakes and for ours." And I can definitely see how the tapestry of the Hispanic culture consists of community, family, hard work, and service, and it continues to shape the generations to come. All right, coming up next on Cynthia at the Table, we will be rocking the vote. So in the days leading to the election, we will be connecting with different communities to rock the vote by encouraging everyone to get out there and vote on November 3rd. That's right, stay tuned, because we might be reaching out to your city to see how you're rocking the vote. Until next time, stay well, stay connected, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook at CynthiaAtTheTable.com. Again, thank you both so much. I really appreciate you coming to the show today and joining us at the table.
Thank you. Thank you, Cynthia. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, Penny. Thank you, Cynthia. Bye-bye.